Hello, San Gabriel Valley. I'm Maria L. Rios, your realtor, and I'm here with Eddie Romero from Rev Wine and Brewery to learn about his business. Hi, Eddie.
Hi, how are you, Maria?
Good, thanks.
Nice to see you today.
Nice to see you too.
Thanks for pulling in.
Oh, no, you're welcome, and thank you for agreeing to chat and let everybody know more about your business.
Awesome.
So, my first question is, I understand that this started as a hobby for you?
Totally. Totally what they call the American dream. They just didn't know I was doing it. Started with 5 gallons of wine and beer out of a garage, 2-car garage. Ended up bonding and licensing the 2-car garage in California as an official brewery and winery together.
Okay, and if it started as a hobby, what is it that boosted you to make it a business?
Well, for the first 3 years, I was doing everything obviously out of that small facility, and then honestly, I got the cops came down and said I had too much alcohol at home.
Oh, okay.
So they said I had to get a facility that could accommodate more than 12 60-gallon barrels of wine or beer. So yeah, I looked for a warehouse that was inexpensive and wasn't thinking about it being a business. I wasn't a business licensed business. I was a licensed bonded winery and brewery, but I wasn't a business licensed to sell to public. I was just able to make the product. So I found this warehouse and you know, it included water, so I was like, whoa.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, and here I am. The first 3 years was just, this is my studio. Somehow people found out afterwards, and they kept creeping in every week, 2, then 4, then 8, and every week it was just doubled. And then it got to the point where, you know, I would let people sample, but it got to the point where, you know, it made sense. Everyone would tell me, you got to sell it to make money to buy more product, to buy more grapes, grow more grapes, and make more wine. Or if not, you're just going to spend your money and go broke. So yeah, in the 3rd year, I decided to get licensing, and we just had our official business license 5th year anniversary on December 5th, which is the same day that abolition was abolished. So it's kind of cool. I didn't know that.
And that's my mom's birthday too.
Yeah, but I see it as, I actually see it that it's warm. Get hot, sweat a lot. So I actually been doing this for 8 years now. Licensed with the government, federal government, for 8 years. Okay.
And so where were you initially getting your ingredients for your product, like your wheat material and your grapes and all that?
Okay, so yeah, the grains and malts, we focus on organic, obviously. It's always a little bit more, but you can get them through big companies that are out of Europe, out of worldwide, and they get shipped in. It's a big brewing community, so there's access to a lot of that grain. Obviously, when you're first starting, it's kind of expensive. You're buying 1 or 2 sacks. You go to your homebrew shops, support your local homebrew shops, because they too need, you know, they need your love. And so yeah, we started buying from them, and then now that we're doing big batches, we're buying wholesale. So which in turn gives us a better price point, which then we lower our prices, so we can accommodate a better price point for the people that come in here.
Okay, so for anybody who wants to try making wine at home, you don't recommend them buying grapes from the grocery store, right?
You can make wine pretty much, I learned at UC Davis that you can make wine out of pretty much anything. The difference is you just got to make sure it's got sugar, you know, glucose, or some type of product that the yeast can convert to alcohol, and they like sugar. Obviously, if you're making it on anything, it's only your wine or beer is going to come out as good as the product you're using. So if you're using, you know, table grapes, they're 90% water most of the time, 5% sugar. So you're going to get like maybe 2% alcohol. So you want a legitimate wine grape, because those are usually like, you know, 22% Brix, or usually like a 9 to 10 or 11% alcohol content. So less water, more sugar. Yeah, that's why they're so small. They're like more concentrated. Okay. But you can make it out of anything you want. People in jail make it out pruno. Make it out prunes.
Yeah, they need to figure out a way, huh? Okay, and so what was your profession before this?
I did finance for 19 years. So a few companies, not several companies, just primarily one company and a couple stints here and there. But yeah, I did finance, and I was in charge of securing cash assets and managing assets for big companies, risk management and stuff like that. Making big bucks. Obviously, that didn't make me happy.
Okay.
So I decided to get into a business that requires you to put $1 million to get back $500,000. I haven't worked a day since I started.
Okay.
This is my passion. I love what I do. And it's pretty cool.
Okay, so then it definitely helps that you had the finance knowledge to make sure that your business didn't, go over budget or anything like that.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say just because I have finance experience that I was the most smartest or savvy guy making decisions. Obviously, when you're an artist and you're working from a passion standpoint, money is not an object. You just figure it out. So you start wasting money like crazy. So I would say people need to really sit down and do their finances and stick to a budget so they don't go broke, because that's usually what causes a great brewer or a great winemaker to go broke, spending money unnecessarily.
Okay. And
I'm gonna take a sip because it's hot.
and what are you drinking?
This is our Chocomil Stout. It's an 8.5% chocolate stout. 5 years perfecting the recipe, and now we have perfected it to our liking, and now it's our staple beer. So we fashioned this after idea. I got this idea. I grew up with Pancho Pantera.
Yes. Let's tell the world who is Pancho Pantera.
Pancho Pantera is like if you're Latino in the Latino world, it's like the Hershey's milk powder for us,
He's the bunny.
Yeah, he's a Pantera. Yeah, he's the bunny, and this one's the Pantera.
Yeah, he's a superhero, Pancho Pantera.
One like this. So yeah, we got the flavor profile. We converted it into a beer, a stout, and it's beautiful. I mean, it's a high demand beer, and we get a lot of loyal following.
Nice.
Yeah, it's come out on a couple TV stations, and we talked about it on a couple stations.
Nice. And so why Covina?
It was the right location, right price. And I wanted to be urban. It would cost $1 million to $3 million to build out in Temecula where the grapes grow. And so out here, it's urban. 8 years ago, there was hardly any urban wineries, let alone any breweries as well. And so in the last 5 years, I've seen an influx of 300 applications go through the TTB, and now they're way in excess of 3,000 plus applications. So you can pretty much find an urban brewery just about anywhere.
Okay. And in my research, I think I found that you have some vineyards.
Yeah, we grow out of Temecula, we grow out of Paso Robles and out of Escondido, a place called Ramona. But now that's another thing. That's one of the things I learned is like if you're growing your own grapes and you're paying for the harvest, the water, the maintenance, and everything, the property, it eats away at your profits. Give you an example: 4 tons of grapes cost me about $17,000 a year total, where I can buy them from my neighbor for every ton for $700 to $900, and I don't have to water it. I mean, I oversee it, I supervise, I tend to the harvest, but I don't have to pay for all that labor cost. And so now I've learned a very valuable lesson: don't buy unless you're going to put a couple $1 million and go big.
Okay.
Yeah. Obviously, we went small. Didn't know I was business module till the 3rd year. So gradual growth, baby steps.
Okay. So how long after you started your business is it that you decided to pursue like a vineyard? Having your own vineyard.
I wasn't in the business at that time. I think it was the first 3 years that I was just doing my art. This is a combination of what my studio is. So the first 3 years, I wasn't thinking I was in the South to any retail or public or anyone. It was just, I just got all into it. Totally Breaking Bad. It's like 1 gallon led to 2 to 6, 6 to 20, then 60, then 100, then 200 gallons. And I just kept making it till I kept seeing a difference in perfecting my style. And then one day it just dawned to me, literally like it was 5 years ago, where it just hit me that I actually achieved my first goal, which was to make a very good drinkable bottle of wine and a very good beer. Yeah.
All right. And do you think you would ever expand to distribution so that your product can be in restaurants and stores?
Yeah, that's another monster, because distribution in our business is a whole other beast. It's a whole other business identity. So keep in mind, we are a winery. That's one business module, and that alone is tough. We are a brewery. That alone is tough. We're a winery and brewery put together. Very tough. Now we just added distribution, self-distribution, because after reading a couple contracts and some of the offers I was getting, I'm not at the point where I can supply that. but I'm kind of in the middle transition, and the profit margins wouldn't be there for us. We'd probably go broke. So we decided to go ahead for now till we build a portfolio, which we do have some bars, some gastropubs, some craft brewery spots. We have our beer kind of like at speakeasy spots or certain liquor stores that mostly organic or vegan stores that carry vegan organic products. So yeah, we started self-distributing only because we needed to, but that has become another beast in itself.
Okay.
It's like three corporations in one, which is, it's a learning curve. Yeah. If anyone out there wishes to come help us, we pay in beer.
Okay, so I think we're ready to know a little bit more about your product, your beers and your wines. So let's move on to that.
Well, we got a variety of beers now. We actually have try to carry 15 beers on tap, and we don't. One of the things that's unique about us is we have a diversity of products. So we go from sours to light ales to stouts and barrel aging, and then we also make meads and ciders. Because we're Winery Brewery, we're allowed to do both, and brandy. And I don't sell brandy out of here, but we do a commercial. But yeah, we have a very nice selection. We do have some IPAs, double IPAs, and triple IPAs as well. The unique thing about us is that we're not making 20 barrels of beer, and I'm not saying as a negative, I'm saying it as a positive. If you come here, you're trying individual beer styles or wine styles, because we're making beers and wines individual. So if we're making 5 barrels of chocolate stout, it's 5 whole barrels of a chocolate stout, versus getting 20 barrels of a base chocolate stout and then flavoring 4 different 5 barrels to make 4 beers out of one batch. We actually make recipes to focus on one individual characterized batch. Yeah. And so that's kind of a good product. We try to hold to the tenets of organic, non-filtered, non-preserved products. Just trying to keep them as natural as possible. It's hard to do 100% of the time, but there's some products that actually use maybe 90%, because you just have to. Like for the example, the sours, you need a yeast strand, a certain yeast strand that we use. It's lactobacillica, so we use lactobacillica, which we get from back east Pennsylvania.
Okay.
It's yogurt.
Oh.
Yeah, a specific yogurt.
Okay.
And that's got lactose, ergo you can't call it vegan or organic. So,
Oh, okay, yeah.
yeah, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh.
We got a call.
It's okay.
Rev Winery Brewery Company. So yeah, the wines, I mean, obviously, the biggest question everyone's always asking me is like, we're the black sheep in the industry. And I know that for a fact. And I got no disrespect for anyone, the guild or any associations, wine associations in Napa and Temecula. I got mad respect and mad love, and all the love they've showed me is awesome. But at the same time, I am a black sheep. I'm a winery and a brewery in the same facility, using the same equipment legally, because I went through I did my due diligence.
Okay.
And so that's in essence that one black sheep that is kind of a little bit rogue, and doing things like some breweries don't like wineries or winemakers, and some winemakers don't like to even go to breweries because they'll catch a yeast strand,
Oh, okay.
It could spoil their whole inventory.
Okay.
We don't care. I think I think what we're doing here is unique. If we're getting, it's 8 years now, so the yeast strand that's here or it's developed is already indicative of our style, and sometimes
It's
beers,
like your staple, your brand.
yeah, there's a certain flavor profile that comes out, and everyone tells us, hey, this tastes way different than so and so, and I'm like, yeah, well, you need to understand, we're a winery and brewery cohabitating yeast. The yeast are going nuts, and they're cross-contaminating each other.
They're a hybrid.
Yeah,
a hybrid.
hybriding, breaking off, yeah, and cross-contaminating our inventory too. Because I don't know how they get into the barrels or the vats, but they get in there.
And the customers don't have complaints either.
No, we're unique. I mean, it's sort of like not everyone has the same flavor profile. Some people want that filtered beer, very clean, crisp flavor because it's cool when you're cutting the lawn, you know. Other people want like a robust flavor, and some other people just it's like a meat eater versus a vegan, you know. There's different, palates.
Okay.
And so we have a niche market, and now we're starting to see more of the I would say the meat eaters coming in, and trying also our organic product, and they're loving it. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just a different style.
Okay.
Yeah, and the wines, like I said, we have anywhere between 12 to 14 different wine varieties. There's 3 blends. I'm pretty proud of 2 of them. One is Symphony Wine, which is a cross between a Moscato Chardonnay and a Grenache, and that we use to promote the yearly fundraiser for the Yasiel Puy Wild Horse Foundation, formerly from the Dodgers. Obviously, he's not from the Dodgers anymore, but for the last 2 years, we used it to raise money, and we donate. We're big advocates of that. We got mad love for you, Yasiel. You're still our Dodger boy, man. Okay. Rev's got mad love for you, and we'll continue supporting. But yeah, last year was pretty good because several millions were raised, and that's kind of cool. When you see some of your bottles up on stage with some of the most popular people, blast out George Lopez or Roxy, or some good friends of ours.
All right, see. Yeah. So it's working, obviously.
Yeah. Thank God that there's mad love for us in the community. I'm a big foodie, so I know a lot of chefs, and there's mad love there. So we network a lot. We're being Latino, small business. We help each other out,
And so you collaborate with food service businesses, right?
Yeah. That's been another one of our problems too. We're trying to battle that. A lot of times food trucks, and I get it. It's all about business. And sometimes in the brewery, I get that same question all the time. It's like, how busy do you think it's going to be? Like, if I knew what my numbers were going to be every night, and then which nights were dead, I would literally close the business down the days that I knew were dead and keep open only the days that are busy. But I'm not a fortune teller or a magician, so I never know how it's going to get. Some days it gets busy, some days it doesn't. So that's brought us to a situation where a lot of the food truck vendors or startups kind of like they bum out. If they have one bad day, it's funny because they could have one bad day, then the next day they don't come, and it's super packed. Like 80 to 100 people, and it's like, I'm like thinking to myself, wow, he missed it. But then they sometimes most of the time cancel last minute. So that's been one of our problems right now is somebody commits, but then they get like a wedding to do, and they know they're going to make a couple $1,000s versus under $1,000, and yeah, so they I love this. I got to blast you food people. I love you. You're mad. I got mad love for you, but I know this one. Hey, I just got a flat tire and my engine broke. I mean, you can't use that one every Friday at every brewery. And the other one is that you're sick. I'm sick right now. I'm doing an interview on my off shift. So I'm just saying, blasting you guys out. Give us a head start, because it's hard for me to call a food vendor on the last minute. So like kind of getting a date 10 minutes before the last date dump you.
Yeah.
And that's not cool, because customers, I'm a customer too. When I go to a place, the chef doesn't come out and says, hey, all my staff just, got sick. I want to eat.
Yeah.
So when you got people drinking, they want to eat. And that's kind of been another conundrum for us. That's probably going to be our 4th business module. We're working on adding food aspect to this, so I don't have to depend too much on
outside sources.
Trucks that break down.
Okay. Nice. All right.
So yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say about that.
Okay, Ed. Well, thank you so much for your time. I had fun learning about your business. I wish you continuous success. And
Cool.
Is there anything else you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, I want to thank everyone that's been supporting us all this time from when we started. And I want to thank you for the future support we're going to get. And that's why we support locally too. But thank you. And the best flattery you can give us, and the best support you can give us too, is like, blast us out. We're hidden. We're Speakeasy Brewery. We're behind a gate. We got every obstacle against us, but yet obviously we must be doing something right. So just tell people who we are and where we're at. And that's like the best mad love you can show us. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm Maria L. Rios, your realtor, and don't forget to stop by Rev Wine and Brewery in the city of Covina.
Awesome. Cheers.